sing. No, you won't.
This is Nick DiPaolo, and you're watching Bourbon Soaked Live with the talented and beautiful Juliette Miranda. Enjoy.
Bourbon. Oh, delightful bourbon. Hey there, y'all. I am Juliette Miranda, and welcome to Bourbon Soaked Live, the bar that's not a bar on YouTube, where we hang out and we talk about a topic at hand and get to know each other a little bit better. Sitting behind the scenes, I have got my guy, David, the producer.
Happy Monday.
Hey there, handsome man.
How you doing?
I am awesome. How's my guy doing?
I am doing really good. This is a good week so far, so.
Yeah, although it's super rainy tonight, I'm kind of hoping it doesn't knock our internet out.
Yeah, that's I could tell by my nostrils. They're just kind of all stuffed.
What's going on with your nostrils?
Well, when it rains, I get all the stuffy and...
Yes.
So, I'm a little stuffy, but I'm not going to complain.
Well, you know what the cure for that is?
Bourbon.
I see that we are starting to gather a bit of a crowd, so let's give some hellos. I know that Wes has been hanging out, so hello. Matthew Eaton is here for his first live event, so cheers to you, sir. And of course, we got Real Wicked Canadian with us.
Ron in the house.
Ron is in the house. Cheers, y'all. Thanks so much for being here. Our topic tonight is the 80s. But before we get to that, I think we need to talk a little bit about what we are drinking, because you can't have Bourbon Soaked Live without a little bit of bourbon. I am drinking Buffalo Trace bourbon. And I gotta say, I always forget how much I enjoy this bourbon. It's not always something that I turn to, and I don't know why that is. It's just, I don't know, there's always a million other bourbons to be drinking. So, I just drink those. But the other day I was at the liquor store, I saw the bottle, and I was like, hey, that's right, I love it, let me grab it. And I gotta say, Buffalo Trace is so, so good.
I'm a big fan.
It's really, what I love about it, it has this very classic bourbon flavor. So the mash bill is pretty much a high corn with a spike of rye. And you get this really smooth sort of flavor. It's got a lot of vanilla and a lot of caramel to it. But there's something just distinctive and different about it enough that makes it special. And for me, what I pull out of it is kind of this grassy sort of flavor. A little bit of grass, a little bit of earth, a little bit of mint. And y'all, I gotta say, it's super, super good. And it's not expensive. It's really easy to drink. Oh, wait, somebody has got a glass. That's David the producer stealing my bourbon. He forgot how much he enjoys it too.
I had wine over there, and it just wasn't doing the trick.
No, why would you drink wine? That's just crazy talk.
I know.
So,
Cheers.
Cheers, love. Our friend Bobby Blaze has joined us, and I see Nick Jones is here as well, so it's great to have y'all with us.
Nick and Bobby.
Yeah, love Bobby. Patrick Fulmer is here as well. Yeah, it's funny, Patrick. I see what you're saying about it being a little boring. I actually, I initially thought that, but the more I drink it, the more I really pull out those kind of grassy notes, and it just really kind of grows on me. I gotta say, I'm digging it, and I love that it's something that I can just,
It's certainly not complex, though. I can
Right.
totally understand where he's coming from.
It's not the fanciest bourbon you're going to buy out there.
Not at all complex. No,
But if you're
it's
looking
a
to
simple sip.
If you're looking to step up your game a little bit, shake off the maker's mark and do something a little different, I got to say Buffalo Trace is the way to go. And Mike Meyer, cheers to you.
Yes. Cheers. It's good stuff.
Oh, so good. So good. 80s. Ginger has just joined us. Well, it wouldn't be a show without Ginger. Yay, I'm glad you're here. And she says she's popping in to say hi, and she's going to bed soon. Oh, Ginger, no, you're not allowed to go to bed. You stay here for the whole hour.
She said she was born in 84.
Yeah, I am a child of the 70s, which is just scary to say aloud. So that means I really came of age in the 80s. And wow, was that a hell of a decade. So that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, y'all, is the 1980s, all of our favorite pop culture things, from movies to TV shows, music, and more. But I think before we do that, we need to talk a little bit about what hashtag Bourbon Soaked Live is. Dig that music. Isn't that the best? Mother Nature has joined us. Cheers to you. We're going to be talking about the 1980s in a little bit, but first we're talking about hashtag Bourbon Soaked Live. This is our little getting to know you routine. What you do is you snap a photo of yourself or something related to the show, post it to Twitter using hashtag Bourbon Soaked Live, and we will feature it on the show. Now, I don't know what we have left from last week because Twitter got a little angry with us after our fetish episode.
Yeah.
And they kind of smacked down a couple of posts.
Twitter, no likey.
Yeah, Twitter was not happy with our fetish episode. So I'm sorry if we can't show your meme, Ginger. We had a couple other things that got the smackdown also. So lesson learned. But we do have a great photo. We've got Tony here from Viewed This.
Yep, Tony and Jimmy C.
Jimmy
and
C.
his wife.
Absolutely. Cheers to y'all. You guys look like you're having quite the night right there. I love it. Hanging out together. That's awesome.
Good times.
Do we have anything left on Bourbon Soaked Live?
No,
or
we went through all the rest of them last week.
Well, then what I want to do is call out. I see that Stacey Morgan has just joined us. Now, Stacey Morgan is an amazing artisan, and he's done something so cool for us. I got to say, I am seriously blown away by this. He created an amazing, I guess it's really a work of art. I've pulled out one piece from it. Now, this is a single etched slate with the YouTube button on it, but he's done it up with really cool etching to make it look like a brick wall, really great detailing behind it. But David, the producer, is wearing the full-scale model right now, the wrestling superstar belt.
Look at this thing.
Oh, look at you shaking it right there. Stacey Morgan, you are amazing. He's created all of these discs that are fastened to the belt. It's kind of like an honorary YouTube star thing. And I guess that makes us honorary YouTube stars.
It makes us one of the cool people in Stacey's troop.
I don't know how true that is, because frankly, I don't really
Stacey
feel
was
like
awesome
that. But
for putting these together. They look great.
super cool. And I have my very own belt, but I felt a little awkward trying to pull it up here.
She couldn't get it on sitting down,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
So I pulled off the beautiful centerpiece of it so y'all could see it. It's got a great weight to it too. So if you want to check out Stacey Morgan's YouTube channel, you can see some more of his work.
We'll put it down in the description below.
Yes, and we will also post photos of the belts as well.
Yes, we'll put them up on Twitter with the hashtag Bourbon Soak Live.
Yes, so Stacey, I cannot thank you enough for this. This is truly beautiful. We really, really appreciate it. You are just an awesome person for doing this.
Absolutely. And Drone Kings and Darwin says that I need my own ring music or ring intro music. I think he's right.
Well, that sounds reasonable. Play a little ditty when you join the show.
I would get killed.
No, I think if we have a talented musician in the audience, they should write something for you.
There you go.
Something peppy.
It's a little snappy.
So what do you say? Why don't we start talking about the 1980s? Although I have to call out first, Whiskey Crusaders have joined us.
Whiskey Crusaders. Awesome.
Cheers, y'all. I am
Cheers.
drinking Buffalo Trace tonight. Just the standard Buffalo Trace release because it's just solid, awesome bourbon.
A great bourbon on a rainy night here in Chicago.
Yeah, and speaking of, it's pouring rain outside, so if our internet starts to get a little wonky, blame the weather gods.
Yeah. I don't think it should be an issue. It seems to be decent so far, but who knows?
If a fat jogger runs past our house, the internet goes out.
I know. That's true.
Just a nightmare. So, fingers crossed. And on that, what do you say we move on over to the 1980s? What a decade, right? I mean, talk about neon and...
It was a blur for me. The 80s were just a total blur. Well, that's when I went on tour.
You were on tour with Night Ranger.
Right.
Talk about the quintessential 80s band.
It was a blur. complete blur. And then all of the things that go along with that. So I kind of miss some of the 80s in a weird way.
Well, you were too, gorkled.
I wasn't gorkled.
Oh, come on. You were touring with Night Ranger. You were gorkled.
Yeah, there was a little bit of stuff that happened. But yeah, nothing all that crazy, as far as you know.
Well, like I was saying, I was born in the 70s. So when the 80s rolled around, I was full on, coming of age and into it. So, this was my decade. And I think the coolest thing about it was just how laid back it was, in the sense that as a, kid and young adult, you could do whatever the fuck you wanted. I mean, admittedly, I was having sex way too young, but it was great to be able to just run around, and not have all of this parental supervision and, crazy helicopter parenting. You could just be a kid and have fun and experiment and break shit and blow shit up without having the government called.
That's right.
Because I did used to blow a lot of things up.
Yeah, my friend used to make, those old, out of plumber's pipe
Yeah.
bombs, and he just liked to set them off in fields.
Yeah.
Didn't do anything, odd with it, but if you got caught with one of those now,
Oh my God, you would be going to
he
jail.
would,
You'd be
in
on a
jail,
watch list.
on a list for the rest of his life. It would be a huge problem.
I have to say, my dad had the coolest thing ever, and he would never dream of playing with it incorrectly, but it was called a bird banger. And it was essentially like a little slingshot thing that launched an M80 into the trees to scare birds away. And when I got my hands on this thing, oh Lord, did I cause a whole lot of problems. I mean, I am just, blowing shit up in the air. It was like skeet shooting. It was just...
It was the best.
I see Bobby Blaze is calling out the 1980s big hair. All the girls and guys had it, and fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was a look.
It was more than a look. It was a lot of hairspray. I think men used more hairspray back then than the women did half the time.
I looked like Yahoo Serious. I mean, I crimped my hair and I used sun-in, so it was this weird bleached orange kind of color. It was atrocious.
Patrick Fulmer says, yes, disco died. And that was partly due to Steve Dahl right here in Chicago.
That's right,
with
the Disco Demolition.
Yep.
That was quite the event. Just
It was.
It was chaotic. Wasn't there rioting at it also?
Oh, yeah, they had they couldn't play the second part of the doubleheader.
That's right.
They
That's right.
practically burned down the field.
Was that at Soldier Field?
No,
Or
that's
Wrigley Field.
Comiskey Park.
Comiskey Park. Okay.
Yes, which is called some other park now.
I don't know what park it is now, but this is a classic Chicago legend. The way that this guy just put a shit ton of disco records in the middle of a ballpark
And blew them up.
and blew them up.
Yeah.
Well, so our first topic for tonight that we will be discussing is, of course, the music of the 1980s. And Who's Right has just joined us. And I don't know if I should be a little terrified or not.
Oh, you should be terrified.
Yeah.
Yeah. Doug's a problem.
Doug is a problem, but he apparently tight-rolled his jeans, which made him very in style.
You tight-rolled your jeans?
Doug.
Unfortunately, now everything that he wears is tight-rolled.
It's only because he can't fit them on.
Hey.
Did I say that aloud?
Though you did, when Doug called me earlier, you said,
I wished him well.
Yeah, you said, hey, what's Doug up to? And I said, about 400. And
so
you didn't think it was that funny.
Well, I stole your joke. What can I say?
Yeah, you
And
did.
I did it poorly, too. So.
You did. Mother Nature. You want to read that one?
David the producer and Juliette Miranda. Hanging out with them isn't propaganda. Bourbon Soak Live makes you jive. I love it. That is awesome. We're going to have to remember that. We have to put that on like a coaster, I think. So, okay, focusing. I'm like a goddamn goldfish tonight, I swear.
Yeah. You blink and you get lost. What's
I know. I don't know what it is. I'm all
short
over the
attention
place.
span tonight?
I think so. Yeah, maybe I just haven't had enough bourbon.
I think that's it.
So we are talking music. And for me, I think the greatest part of the music of the 80s, Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah, that's where we split.
How can you not like fucking Huey Lewis and the News?
I don't say I don't like him. He certainly wasn't a go-to for me. And every song that they did sounded just like the one before it.
That
and
is not even
just like the
remotely
one
true.
after it.
Oh, no. Power of Love, I think,
Well, it's iconic because of the movie.
encapsulates the 80s.
Oh, it is, and that's a lot to do with Back to the Future, obviously,
Yes,
right?
another amazing part of the 80s, which we'll get to in a little bit. But Huey is actually back in the news these days. He's lost his hearing and he's unable to perform, which I got to say is tragic. And it was actually something, from what I read, that started years ago. He lost hearing in one ear, and then over time, he gradually lost the hearing in the other. And he's doing fine. He still can hear a little bit, but he can't hear well enough to sing.
He just recorded his very last album with the band, which just was released.
They recorded it before the hearing loss.
Well, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they just released it, I think, this week. Oh, I'm sorry, last week.
Recently, yes. Yeah, and it's quintessential Huey. I mean,
It sounds just like the 80s stuff. Nothing different.
it's perfect. And I see Mike Meyer says Huey Lewis's album Sports was awesome. And
I think that was their biggest seller. I can't deny him that. I mean, they sold...
Sports and Four.
And Four.
Four
yes.
had Jacob's Ladder, Stuck on You.
You know all the songs.
I know, yeah, all of them. Donna Cantor has just joined us. Cheers. And Drone Kings, it's fit to be hair. Clever. Very clever.
Yeah. I was more into the metal scene in the 80s. I mean, obviously, I was playing that kind of music back then.
Sure.
So, I was a huge fan of Dio. I even like the early Def Leppard stuff.
You and like the Iron Maiden. And
yeah, Iron Maiden.
The
that
Flight of
kind
the
stuff.
Icarus was almost our wedding song.
If it were up to me, it would have been.
Bobby Blaze is calling out Thriller. Early
Yeah.
Michael Jackson. Oh my gosh, Thriller just blew everybody away. What a great album. I mean, even today you listen to it and it's so sound.
It holds up. Every song does.
I mean, Quincy Jones, just the
can't go wrong.
production and the songwriting on that is amazing.
Yeah, that is an amazing album. And then Prince came out in the 80s, and that was
Prince.
kind of game-changing in a way.
Absolutely. Well, he had a really it was fusion. It was the R&B, it was rock, a little bit of rap, all rolled into this amazingly, marketable package, and he owned it.
Yep.
I'm always sad I never got to see him live.
I know. Me too. But now you can see about a million cover bands doing tributes to Prince. And
Oh, I know.
I'll pass. That's a hard pass.
It's one thing if it's somebody like Bon Jovi, because those songs anybody can do. But when it comes to somebody like Prince, I don't want to see some hack throwing out, Peach or, Seven or something
Exactly.
like that, because it's not going to be good.
Tony from Viewed This just popped in.
Oh, well, hello, Tony. We showed your photo a little bit earlier.
Yes, we did.
You missed it.
Dire Straits, good call there.
Dire Straits, always a good call. The one of the most groundbreaking videos of the time on MTV was for Money for Nothing.
Right. I think that was that and Sultans of Swing. I don't know which one was a bigger hit, but I'm going to guess the one that was on MTV.
Money for Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sultans of Swing is fine, but it certainly isn't, doesn't have that same catchiness. I also see that Stacey Morgan has called out Weird Al Yankovic. And there is an 80s staple right there.
Totally.
Does anybody, and this is, Weird Al reminded me of Dr. Demento. Did you ever listen to Dr. Demento?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
The Fish Head song?
Yeah. Oh, that song is
Fish
the worst.
heads, roly-poly fish heads, eat them up, yum.
Well, as a younger kid, listening to Dr. Demento, you got to listen to goofy songs on the radio, which was kind of cool.
Exactly.
And that's actually where Weird Al broke,
Yes.
was on his radio show.
Exactly.
So it was kind of interesting because it was a guy, back then he just played accordion and sang songs in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. That's literally what he did. And they were awful songs.
Oh, they were so terrible.
I know. But look at him now.
I know. He's
touring
still
and
doing
killing
it. And he's still writing really, really clever songs. He did that play on Blurred Lines, the grammar song,
Yes.
which is just so spot on funny. I mean, if you can make grammar clever and hysterical in a song, I mean, you're genius in my book.
We got a whole bunch of people calling some things out
Oh
here.
my gosh, I see Robert Palmer.
Yeah.
Oh, those videos were iconic with the
Addicted Love.
chicks and the red lipstick and everything. I always wanted to be one of them.
Every guy wanted to be with one of them.
Well, yeah, can you blame him?
That was such a
They
hot
were
video.
hot, and he was cool. He had that swagger and everything. And speaking of swagger, I see people calling out George Michael from the Faith album.
Yeah, that was a pretty badass album, I have to say.
It still holds up. I still
Yeah.
listen to that.
Some of the songs, some of them a little goofy, but you know. Hey,
Well,
what
I
are you
think the
gonna do?
Wham stuff is more goofy than George Michael's solo stuff.
No, true.
I mean, Wake Me Up Before You Go is just cheese on a
unlistenable.
cracker.
I know. See, Patrick went from Robert Palmer to Phil Collins, which has no sex appeal whatsoever.
Phil Collins. I get so annoyed by him. I don't know what it is. I just look at his face and I just want to
I don't
gouge
know-
his
well,
eyes out. I
tell
don't
you,
know why. It's
he
irrational.
had some of the biggest songs in the 80s.
He
Some of the
did.
biggest ones, and consistently had them out.
He did.
Throughout all of the 80s. I mean, he was one of the very first drummers that came out from behind the kit and went up to the front.
Very true. Very
know?
true. And I always loved the song Studio. Stupid name, stupid song, but I liked
Yeah,
it.
it's a little catchy. I get it.
It's totally catchy. I mean, that's what Phil Collins music was then. And
Yeah.
isn't there going to be a Genesis reunion? Did I read that
Yep.
somewhere?
This year they are coming together for the very last time.
The reunion nobody asked for.
No one asked for it.
Why?
Someone has a couple car payments they probably need to take care
Oh,
of.
that must be it. Yeah, they probably have ex-wives that need money or something.
Oh, Phil Collins has been divorced a few times, and he did not fare very well out of them, from what I
No.
understand.
No. I see Wes is calling out a song, Sledgehammer. And
Great tune. Tell the story.
Who is it that got from One Direction? Is that
Harry
it?
Styles was just on
Howard
Stern. I think it was last week, but everyone in here probably already heard it already because it's, obviously it went viral.
He did an amazing cover of Sledgehammer.
It's incredible, and I'm not a One Direction or Harry Styles fan, but when I heard that, I had a whole new appreciation for that kid.
Well, and it was weird. I didn't even know who he was, but I was curious about the fact that somebody was covering Sledgehammer because I'd never heard that before.
Right.
And who's the guy who does the Tears for Fears covers on the Zuck?
Video is, I'll put a link to it in the description when we're done with the live.
Because Tears for Fears, there's a great 80s band.
Oh, yeah. I love those guys. It's one of the very few 80s bands that I actually went to go see live.
It's kind of a musician's band almost. I feel like they had more technical skills than a lot of the 80s bands did, who were just overproduced, and it was the early phases of auto-tune and building up production with a synthesizer and in a studio, but they actually backed it all up by being talented.
Well, and they had some decent hits. I'll give them credit. But yeah, one hell of a band live. I was blown away at how good they were live.
I see Container Man is going to be leaving us. I'm sorry I didn't get to say hello to you earlier, so thanks so much for stopping by, sir. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Jenny Marceth is here. Jenny, thank you so much. She is going to be dropping a whole bunch of links in the chat for you guys to remind you to like what you're watching. And if you're not already, subscribe to my channel so that you can always catch Bourbon Soak Live whenever it's on. So moving right along, I think it's time that we talk about something very important about the 1980s.
Ooh.
The fashion.
Oh, was it bad?
And as such, I'm wearing my leg warmers. Leg warmers.
You always wear those, though.
I know, because I love leg warmers.
You have not gotten out of the 80s with that one.
Leg warmers are the best. And I love that they've come back into style now because
yeah.
I can wear them over my jeans. I can wear them with skirts. I really don't care. I think they're awesome.
Mad Kiwi just joined us.
Mad Kiwi is here. Lunch break. Is that it?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, Mother Nature says NWA. Great.
Oh my
great
God.
band.
Yes, absolutely. That I should have called them out earlier.
NWA is just amazing. I talk about groundbreaking and scared the hell out of every suburbanite I knew.
I know. I didn't know what to make out of them. I just knew that there was something important about them.
Between NWA and Public Enemy,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
scared every suburbanite.
Absolutely. Well, even I
loved 'em.
think the Beastie Boys too. I wasn't a huge Beastie Boys fan, but everybody I knew was. It was
Yeah.
it was constantly a soundtrack of my youth.
Well, we all knew him from the dumb song that was a hit on MTV.
Fight for Your Right to
Fight
Party.
for Your Right.
Yeah.
But you listen to the rest of those albums, and they're actually really damn
They're
good.
seriously good, absolutely.
Yeah.
Night Train, is that our arrow is over Night Train? I can't see the full name, I'm sorry. But is saying that 80s women's style is back, and you are 100% right. It creeps me out to go to the store now and shop fashion that I shopped when I was, 13. It's really, really disconcerting.
Well, and Patrick Fulmer says, love that spandex. Yeah, spandex.
Spandex.
It was everything.
Jane Fonda made it work. She was my hero.
yeah.
I thought she was amazing in the 80s. I mean, just, the workout queen.
Yeah, well, she wasn't that popular in the 60s and 70s.
No,
She had to reinvent
She was on a
herself.
little bit of a watch list.
She had to reinvent herself.
She did, I get it. But, she was still super pretty and hot, great body.
I used to go to the Chess King was the name of the store.
Was that a strip club?
No, it was a retail store where you buy clothing. And
Chess
that's
King.
where I got my Cavaricis.
Oh, that's right. You looked like a waiter.
I know, my Z Cavaricis with my short jacket that made me look like I was literally going to take the keys from someone's car.
Oh, that was horrible. And you had the mullet, like the
Oh, I had
permed
the
mullet on
mullet.
top and the rat tail in back.
I looked like Richard Marx.
You did. You had a...
I mean, I looked just like Richard Marx, and that's not a good thing.
It was pretty spectacular.
Oh, boy.
Although I wasn't much better. I mean, I went through a lot of different fashion phases, and I tried on the whole Madonna look. I went through a phase where I tried on, the Cyndi Lauper, kind of like crazy hair thing. I was crimping it and all of that. And then when I started reading Playboy magazine, I tried to go all natural, and that didn't work for me either. So it took me a little while to figure things out because there was a lot to go through in the 80s.
Yeah. Acid wash jeans. I had how many pairs of those that had the pre-built holes, of course.
Bugle boy pants.
Bugle boy. Did you see
What was the commercial?
Mother Nature had up there?
No, what'd she say?
Cummerbunds.
Oh my God,
And
yes.
also fanny packs.
Fanny packs.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Guys did not have good clothing in the 80s at all. I mean, we're talking
We got gypped.
across the board. I mean, from just like the preppy Izod look with the, popped collars.
Well, they even had to fuck that up by popping collars, which just made you look like a complete douche nozzle.
Well, you can blame Don Johnson for that.
Yeah. And all the pastel colors,
What a
Miami Vice.
smarmy douche.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, and Mother Nature's calling out scrunchies. Yes. Oh my God. I used to wear 4 scrunchies at once. I'd pile my hair up on the top of my head and would be coming over thanks to like the layers and layers of scrunchies that were holding it back. It was horrific.
Yeah. A little bit. Levi's, yeah, you just don't see those. I mean, they still sell them.
Levi's are back in style now. I'm a huge fan of the Free People clothing line, and they've actually resurrected the Levi's denim look
Oh, you're kidding
with
me.
the high waist.
Oh, God, I hate that.
It's very in right now. I've been wearing some high waist jeans lately.
You bought one pair, and I still say go back.
You're kidding.
No.
I love them.
I
With
know
the
you
little
do.
crop top and everything. I think
The
it's
crop top
cute.
looks awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I
You
dig
got me
it.
there.
I'm probably too old to be wearing this shit, but whatever.
What's it? You read Mad Kiwi?
Dad's white shirt on girls tied at the front. Oh my God, yes. That was one of my favorite looks.
Yeah.
I would totally raid my dad's closet, but what I did, I took it one step further. I also stole his bolo ties.
No.
I look like a female Joe Bob Briggs. I totally did.
And did that look with the white shirt tied at the front? Didn't Britney bring that back?
Well, she
In the
did it in a
90s?
schoolgirl sort of way. It wasn't
Right.
really the same thing. In the
Oh,
80s,
okay.
it was about wearing like your high waist acid wash jeans, the tied up shirt.
Got it.
And then I'd put on, I stole this bolo tie from my dad. It had this snake on it that wrapped around the top of it.
Right.
It was pretty spectacular.
Bashful of the Round Table says chic jeans.
Mm-hmm.
That's her 80s wear.
Sears still carries chic jeans.
No way.
They do. Yeah. I was doing a Google search earlier just, about fashion and everything. And well, 1, Sears is apparently still open. And 2, they're selling chic jeans. Who knew?
Wow.
Kind of crazy.
Oh my God! And the old, I hated these,
What's
Bobby. The 501 button fly jeans.
Why?
I had them. They're just a pain in the ass. You're working with them all day long. You're like up.
Well, I guess, well, no. I mean, girls pee just as much as guys do. I mean, it's not that hard. It's just a button.
It's not one button.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah, there's 5 buttons.
It's not that complicated.
That's work.
It's not like it's laces. You're the one who used to wear spandex.
Hey, well, that was
How'd
the
you
80s.
get your cock out of that?
Oh, it just came out all by itself. It didn't need
Exploded
any
out.
help.
Yeah.
It was omnipresent.
Night Train FPV says, can't stand low-cut pants. I feel like they're slipping all of the time. Yeah, you know what? Those low-slung jeans, they really take a little bit of getting used to. You got to find the right fabric blend. Something with stretch kind of holds them in place a little bit better. At least that's what I found. But Mad Kiwi is calling out cowboy boots.
Yeah, because of Urban Cowboy.
Yeah.
Because the movie that brought the whole cowboy look back in the 80s again.
That is a look I support.
Yeah, well,
I love it. I
You
think
pull
it's
that off
sexy.
really well.
Well, I love wearing it. I love it on guys. I think it's just a hot, cool, cowboy look. I dig cowboys anyway. If I could get you to dress like Wyatt Earp every day, it would be awesome. You have no idea what would happen if you did that.
Well, first of all, I'd have to have a bounty on someone, but did you see Lady Swan's in the house?
Lady Swan, hello, says, I had the big hair, had to get up at 5 a.m. to be ready for the bus at 7:30. Should have bought stock in Aquanet. Yeah, the ratting of the bangs and then like the waterfall hairstyle. Oh my gosh, yes. I knew so many girls who did that. My parents actually wouldn't let me rat my hair.
Are you kidding me?
I am not. I mean, they let me do everything else. I was bleaching it. I was crimping it. I was doing everything. But for whatever reason, they just flat out said, no, you cannot rat your hair.
Wow.
I couldn't explain why.
That's the thing they put their foot down on?
That's where they drew the line. I know.
That's very odd.
Very weird. Oh, and I see overalls too. Mike Meyer, yes, overalls were a very big thing. And again, coming back. Mm-hmm. Lots of overalls for girls these days. I don't get it because I feel like no matter how cute you are and like how awesome your figure is, overalls just look dumpy.
Yeah, they don't accentuate any look, that's for sure.
They do not. Well, what do you say we move this right along, Mr. Producer Man? What have we got up next? Oh.
The movies.
The movies.
So many good 80s movies.
Wow. I mean, that was like the decade of coming of age movies.
Oh, yeah.
You had John
It became
Hughes,
the genre in the 80s. Right?
Cameron Crowe got his start in the 80s. You had people like John Cusack.
Right.
The sort of...
The Brat Pack.
The Brat Pack. Oh, my gosh, yes. Like St. Elmo's Fire.
Well, and The Breakfast Club.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
Every John Hughes movie that you could think of, it defined really that generation. It was really interesting to see what the 80s did with that whole coming-of-age movie thing.
Well, what I loved about the John Hughes movies was just how personal they felt. I mean, there is this wonderful article about John Hughes about how he used to communicate with teenagers just to get their perspective on movies and what they were feeling and going through. And he did that with The Breakfast Club in particular. And I feel like that's why it resonates so much, is that it was really developed with these specific kids in mind.
I could watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. As a matter of fact, I do. Every time it comes on TV, even if it's like halfway or 3/4 through, I'll watch the end of it.
Absolutely.
I cannot turn that movie off.
It's always a good movie.
Well, and also based in Chicago, and it's kind of near and dear to our hearts because it was done here, but it's just an awesome movie.
Well, and I think every kid that I went to school with made it a point at some time in their scholastic career to recreate their own Ferris Bueller day. I know I did it with my girlfriends. We ditched school one spring day and went downtown, and it was actually for the St. Patrick's Day parade. When they were dyeing the river green and all that.
Sure.
And it was just this cool day where you just feel like you're so free and you can do anything. And then, Chicago being what it is, it started pouring rain on us and her car broke down and we got caught.
Yeah. Hey, Wes says Bill and Ted. That was another great 80s movie.
Bill and Ted is an awesome movie. There's just something so perfect about it. Like, you've got these two California idiots, making friends with historic figures.
And for all the great movies of the 80s, there sure were some piles of crap.
Oh, come now. If you call out the Goonies, I'm gonna have to hit you.
Goonies, worst movie ever.
How can you not like the fucking Goonies?
Because there's nothing... I mean, it's the most predictable movie. It has Corey Feldman in his worst role ever. I don't see the adventure in it. I don't get the fun, like it was supposed to be.
Well, okay, number one, that is not Corey Feldman's worst role ever. That comes
No.
from Dream a Little Dream, which is...
I don't even know what that is.
It's fucking horrible. It's so bad. Speaking of Corey Feldman, doesn't he have a show premiere? Not a show, like a documentary premiering tonight?
Yeah, dude, that's supposed to name names of the pedophiles in Hollywood.
I don't think he's going to name a single goddamn person. I really don't.
I think that, someone in the Illuminati will kill him first.
Did you hear that somebody threw a random Wolfpack calendar on his doorstep?
What is a Wolfpack calendar?
Well, so the Wolfpack is the alleged group that's stalking and harassing him for, threatening to name names.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just somebody messing with him, but he was live tweeting about this. He came home and found a calendar on his doorstep featuring wolves. And he's like, thoughts and prayers for my family in this trying time. We're being harassed. The police are on the way. Oh my God, dude.
Hey, we got some good entries in here. Flashdance.
Oh, Flashdance.
Dirty Dancing. Now, that's a movie that you love.
Dirty Dancing is one of those movies that just feels great. And Patrick Swayze is just, my God. Dancing with Patrick Swayze, that was every girl's dream.
I just found it really weird that they threw in the abortion in the middle of it. That was really just didn't even fit the movie.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. It just doesn't quite fit.
It just doesn't fit. Everything else is great. And I understand you have to have a little conflict, but it was the weirdest conflict you could have.
I know. Well, so we're talking about dancing movies. We called it Flashdance. We've got Dirty Dancing. The quintessential dance movie from 1980s.
Don't say Footloose.
I'm not saying Footloose.
Good.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Ugh.
Oh, no. This movie was the slumber party essential for me and all of my friends. Sarah Jessica Parker, Helen Hunt,
I hate both
Shannon Doherty is in it.
There is not one person I like.
I don't like any of these people, but they're so young and just innocent and genuinely wanting to be great in this movie. And it's got ridiculous dance montages. I mean, come on, the montage. The 80s created the montage.
We have some great entries in here you got to read, starting at The Labyrinth.
Yes, I see The Sure Thing with John Cusack. Awesome movie.
And Fletch.
Fletch.
I love Fletch.
I don't love Fletch.
Fletch is awesome.
I find it really obnoxious.
Oh, no.
It is not Chevy Chase's best movie.
Well, it may not be his best, but it's certainly good. Fletch 2, on the other hand, oof, that was a stinker.
Oh, that's brutal. I see Top Gun and Red Dawn. Oh, Red Dawn. Great movie.
Oh, what, you got to get Drunk Kings and Darwin. He's got some international
Crocodile
entries.
Dundee,
And
Mad
Mad
Max.
Certainly
Yes.
Mad Max.
A Mad Max style movie out of the 80s that I love is Ice Pirates.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great movie.
BMX Bandits, which launched Nicole Kidman. I never heard of that one. Never heard of BMX Bandits.
I don't think I know that one.
You call Roadhouse brilliant.
It is a brilliantly awesome movie.
It is, if anything, maybe a guilty pleasure, but my lord,
I
that
can
is some of
always
the
watch
best,
that movie.
some of the worst acting
I love
I've
how
ever seen.
moody he is in that movie and brooding.
I do like Sam. What's his last name? I can't think of it.
Elliot.
Sam
Elliott. There's
Elliott in that movie is
another
actually.
handsome man.
Yeah, he did I thought he did a great job in that actually.
Crawl up that tree trunk.
Yeah, he would.
Bobby Blaze is calling out Beverly Hills Cop, and we just watched that the other night.
We did, and it holds up.
It really does
well.
hold up well. I know.
I was surprised. I was like, that and what's the other one with Dan Aykroyd that we watch all the time?
Trading Places.
Trading Places.
Great movie.
Great 80s movie.
Absolutely. I see Bashful agrees with me on Sam Elliott. Wes Haven Always and Forever has joined us and calls out 16 Candles. And yes, absolutely.
Gotta have it. And that's an 80s staple. And Mike Myers says Airplane,
Mm-hmm.
which is I think that started the goofy movie humor
spoofs.
stuff, the spoofs.
Yeah, like the Naked
and-
Guns. And...
Right, exactly.
Well, actually, you know what? Which came first? What was it? The Val Kilmer movie, Real Genius.
No,
and
Top-
then
Top
Secret.
Secret.
The one before that, Top
Yes.
Secret.
Airplane came first.
Airplane came first.
Yes.
Okay.
Top Secret, I think, was not that long
It was
after.
about the same time, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, both spoofy movies.
Drone Kings is calling out all of the Police Academy movies.
Oh my God! You know what?
Oof.
When I was younger, I did enjoy, I think, the first couple of them. But in going back to try to rewatch them,
I can't.
wow, they don't
can't.
hold up really well.
And I'm sorry, I truly do appreciate Steve Guttenberg as a human being, but as an actor, not
El
so
Stinko?
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I will say Short Circuit is a great movie.
It is.
Oh, Stacey Morgan is calling out They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper. Absolutely. Now that is a great movie.
That is a great movie. And, you know, surprisingly so from, you
John
think
Carpenter.
John Carpenter, which
Right.
I'm not a huge fan of, some of his movies. He's hit or miss for me.
Well, I think for me personally, hands down, the greatest John Carpenter movie ever. And I want to say Big Trouble in Little China because I love this movie to the ends of the earth. But I believe the best John Carpenter movie is actually Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Great movie.
Oh, you even like Escape from L.A. and
I
that's
love
an
Escape
awful
from
movie.
LA. I mean, it also has Kurt Russell in it. But I still believe they're cool movies, great premise. And what we haven't covered are the horror movies of the 80s. I
Yeah.
mean, this was the birth of the slasher film.
We got two good sly ones in there from Whiskey Crusaders. He's got Rambo.
Oh, I saw the Rambo,
and Cobra.
yes.
As long as you don't say Tango and Cash, I'm with you.
Tango and Cash. Oh, there's a fun movie to
What
watch.
a turd.
That's a great drinking movie.
You have to be drunk to watch that movie.
Mm-hmm. It gets better the more you drink.
Oh, well, I think a lot of and going back to the horror stuff, all your icons, your Freddy Krueger, your
Jason
Jason
Voorhees.
Voorhees. I mean, that was the 80s.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it gave rise to these great movies. But I like some of the more under the radar 80s horror movies. I love Night of the Comet. And if you know that movie, we can be best friends because it has everything. I mean, it's got the sort of zombie-ish element of it. It has the sci-fi element. There's a weird love story to it, and it has a cheerleader in it. So
Hey, all things I like.
I love movies like that. I love The Stuff. That's another amazing movie, and I truly believe that The Stuff is a metaphor for
Was that
Starbucks.
an 80s movie?
The Stuff? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And did you see Lethal Weapon?
Lethal Weapon. There's a fun movie. I haven't seen that in a long time.
We should go back to that
We
one.
should give that one a check.
Gaffa Haynes in the house?
Gaffa is here, and he says Bourbon makes great slushies.
Yeah, that's what Redneck Connection Ken.
Mm-hmm.
His wife Susan, she does bourbon slushies on
That
her
sounds
live.
like fun.
I know.
I would be all over that. Doing like a fruit punch bourbon slushie, that sounds really good. Although I'll tell you, bourbon and root beer, that's a great combo.
It is. We just recently found that out.
We did. I see Whiskey Crusaders is calling out Evil Dead.
Evil
Bruce
Dead
Campbell.
is awesome.
Sam Raimi, oh my God. Evil Dead, my preference is for Evil Dead 2, although Evil Dead 3 is also hysterical. I love it when he just goes, "This is my boomstick," and then Bruce Campbell's just awesome.
Whiskey Crusader says prom night. Didn't we meet someone for prom night?
Well, not exactly, no.
No?
No.
What
You're
movie was she from? Quigley.
Linnea Quigley was in Return of the Living Dead. She was in, oh my God,
Okay.
Sorority Babes in the Slime Bowl Bolorama.
Wow, how'd you even pull that one out?
I know horror movies.
Yeah, that's true.
But yes, we did meet Linnea Quigley.
Yeah,
She was a
I couldn't
sweetheart.
remember. Yeah, I couldn't remember what movies she was in. So.
And we met Fred Decker, too,
Oh, that's right.
who did Night of the Creeps. He did House. He did The Monster Squad.
Monster Squad is the
Which
one I'm thinking of.
Personally, I can't stand, but that's just me.
I thought it was okay. I mean, it is a rip-off movie, but I didn't mind it.
Well, it wants to be Goonies, and it isn't.
Armies of Darkness.
Army of Darkness.
Yep.
Sam Raimi.
Yep. Awesome stuff.
Drone Kingston Darwin says, enjoyed watching that movie. No Frederick without a K. Mabel also without a K. God, we have so much in common. All right, y'all. I think we need to move this right along to our next topic, which is one that is, near and dear to my heart. The TV shows of the 80s.
Now that's where things get really bad. While we've had some great movies in the 80s, there was some bad TV shows.
TV has so much wrong with it, I don't even know where to start.
Knight Rider. Let's start there.
Ooh, David Hasselhoff.
Oh.
Yeah, Whiskey Crusaders just called out Knight Rider, and they called out Magnum P.I.
Magnum P.I. I never really watched that one too much. I can't really even comment too much. I think I might have saw one or two episodes. I wasn't a watcher of that one.
Well, I've called out this before, but I used to watch Buck Rogers all the time.
That show.
It's
awful.
The best.
Gil Gerard.
Buck Rogers
Awful.
is the most amazing, star hero that I can think of.
And then there was T.J. Hooker.
Ooh, with Heather Locklear.
Yeah, that was her debut, wasn't it?
That was her breakthrough TV show.
TV show? Yeah.
Well, for me personally, I loved some of the earlier stuff that had some of the, preteen heartthrobs in it, like Jason Bateman. I used to watch Square Pegs.
Bad.
Ricky Schroeder with Silver Spoons. And of course, Michael J. Fox in Family Ties. Family
Ties was a very popular show.
It was.
You go back to that, it's unwatchable.
No, it does hold up. I actually
Really?
have 2 seasons on DVD, and even the very first season completely holds up because it's so well written.
By the time they brought on DiCaprio, that show was falling apart.
Well, no, by like the last couple of seasons. I mean, it did what all 80s shows did. It jumped the shark. But those the first 3 seasons of Family Ties is amazing. They really tackle some, tough issues. They've got incredible guest stars on it. Tom Hanks was an early guest star on it. He had a recurring role for a while.
What was that TV show that, what you talking about, Willis? What's it?
Different Strokes.
Different Strokes.
Different
Oh, that was so awful.
And speaking of awful, Bobby Blaze is calling out Alf as awful also.
Yes. Absolutely
The alien from
awful.
Melmac who used to eat cats. How did this become a show?
I swear, though, they were high when they came up with the
I hope
concept
so.
for that show because it was ungood.
Bobby is also calling out The Cosby Show. And I will say
Yeah.
this, and you know what? Say what you will about Bill Cosby. I know the guy's a rapey, crazy man. However, The Cosby Show is a great show.
Yeah, you can't knock the show.
It was amazing for its time. Great writing. Occasionally, it got a little, ridiculous towards the last couple of seasons, as they all did.
And a little heavy-handed
Little
sometimes, too.
heavy-handed. But as far as family sitcoms go, hysterical and well-written
Yep,
and relatable.
absolutely. And then he turned rapey.
Well, he was rapey at the time.
Oh, that's true.
He was
Yeah,
raping
yeah.
into the, he was raping during Fat Albert.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, he had decades of raping.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, decades of raping.
Huh.
So he's paying for that now, and I'll tell you, I will still watch the show. Some stupid channel on cable, like channel 9992, will run The Cosby Show, and I will occasionally watch it if I'm sick or whatever, because I still enjoy it. I can separate the asshole from the show.
Yeah, the asshole from the art.
Exactly. I think that, at least for me, that's something that I enjoy doing. But
And someone just called out, well, not someone, Mike Meyer called out Cheers, which was not
Great
only a great
show.
show, but I think it was groundbreaking in a lot of ways, too.
Oh, it really was. And a great cast on it. I mean, Ted Danson and Shelley Long.
Amazing cast.
Great cast. The Bourbon Buddies have joined us.
Cheers,
guys.
guys.
Hey, what are y'all drinking? I've got a glass of Buffalo Trace here that I'm knocking back. Just the regular line Buffalo Trace. I like it because it's got a little bit of a grassy note to it, I think.
It's an easy sip.
A little bit of mint,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like a, I don't know, unoffensive, universally pleasing drink, and it's working for me.
It's kind of our when we don't go to a larceny or a maker's mark as our as a common.
Right.
And
Right.
Buffalo Trace I think is a good third for that.
Well, and I like that this has a little bit more spice than those do. Oh, and speaking of, Bourbon Buddies are drinking Eagle Rare. Very nice. Hey, we're all
Nice
in the
pour.
same family tonight.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's right. That
from the
is,
same family,
That's
yeah.
from Buffalo Trace. Mm-hmm. Got it.
And Gaffa says you like it because it's cheap.
This is
So-
true. Wait, someone called. Oh, it was Bashful. Mork and Mindy.
Mork and Mindy. Well, I think, was that 70s?
Technically,
79?
it started, I think, in the late 70s, but I think that when they made it its own show, because it appeared in Happy Days.
That's
I think
right,
in
that's
the
right, it did.
late 70s. But I think
But
that
it
she's
went
right,
into
that it went into the
the
80s. Yeah.
I used to love that show. Nanook Nanook.
Yeah,
Robin
not
Williams.
me so much. Yeah,
And then I forget
not
the
a fan.
name of the chick who was on that show, but I always thought she was really pretty.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Pam.
Good call. Pam something or other.
Yeah, boy.
I don't
If anyone
know.
in the chat knows
Huh.
who else starred in that, Mork and Mindy, it was Pam.
Yeah. I don't know. Pretty Pam.
Yeah. She was pretty.
Pam.
She was, not offensive.
Pam Dauber.
Wow. Nice pull,
Wow. Mike and Ms. Redneck. You're awesome. I
Mike.
love
Yeah. Susan pulled it too. Wow, I would have never remembered her name. Last name, at least.
I saw it was called out earlier that we should talk about 80s cartoons. And let me tell you, the 80s were a time of great cartoons because cartoon characters then could beat the shit out of each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it was okay.
Yeah, some incredible ones. I'm trying to think of the
Tom
really
and
good
Jerry.
80s ones.
Oh, I love Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, but those weren't done in the 80s. They showed them in the 80s.
You might be right.
Yeah, they weren't actually done.
All right. So
yeah.
80s cartoons. Okay, so thinking about it, there would be like He-Man
Captain
and She-Ra.
Caveman. Captain Caveman.
Was Captain Caveman from the 80s?
Oh, that was 80s.
Okay.
Total 80s.
Well, I'm thinking He-Man and She-Ra, Rainbow Bright.
Yes.
She was a cartoon. Smurfs. Thank you very much, Ms. Redneck. I loved the Smurfs. And I tell you, one day we're going to have a cat and name it Azrael.
Okay.
Azrael. Azrael and
All right.
Gargamel. And Thundercats. Yes.
Thundercat. Who's Dino Saucer or Dino Saucers? What is Dino Saucers?
Dinosaurs? I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Oh, Bourbon Buddies. Gem. Yes.
Oh.
The Rockstar cartoon.
Oh, and that turned into that awful movie. What was it, 2 years ago?
Why would you ever do that?
I know.
Hey, the guys from Re-Nerdish are here. Y'all, it has been way too long since we've talked. Thanks for joining me. And I see that you're calling out My Little Pony. And I think this is the perfect time to bring it along to our next topic.
Yeah.
Topic number 5, which would be the toys of the 80s. Yes, I also see Christopher David is calling out G.I. Joe.
That was huge in the 80s, G.I. Joe.
The 80s had the best toys because, one, they were just like over the top cool, but they could also kill you in certain instances. Like, there were no restrictions on them. Like, do you remember Jarts?
Oh, yeah.
The giant
darts.
metal lawn dart?
Yeah.
Those
Yeah,
were-
and you didn't die.
Exactly.
Yeah, Jart was the best.
And we could buy smoke bombs. I had an arsenal of smoke bombs that would, send out blue and pink and, every color smoke. And we'd loop them all together. I'd tie the wicks together and then extend it because my dad always had extra wicks in the house. And
Oh,
I'd
we got
make
some good calls in there.
excellent. I would make a giant smoke bomb and I would throw it over into. There was this one prissy little girl that none of us liked. We'd throw smoke bombs into her yard while she was out there playing with dolls because I was an asshole like that.
Nice.
Bashful is calling out that her dad got in a fist fight over a Cabbage Patch Kid.
That was a thing.
That was the 80s, right?
Yeah.
You beat the crap
When they
out
had
of
the
each other.
shortage of those dolls and people couldn't get them for their kids for Christmas, people freaked the hell out.
Yeah.
Wasn't that one of the, at least it's the first toy I remember
People
where
rioting
there was
over?
mass hysteria
Yeah.
trying to get them.
For me, that's what I remember as being the first massive toy event. And my parents, they did it. They went out, they beat their way through the crowds, and they came home with a Cabbage Patch Kid for me and my sister.
Yep.
It was awesome. I loved that thing. And My sister had a Teddy Ruxpin doll, which was so creepy. And she and I got into this really vicious fight one afternoon. And I don't know if you remember Teddy, but it was shaped like a teddy bear, but it weighed a lot because it had this giant battery pack, and it was all mechanical because its mouth moved. I took this bear, which was not a soft, plushy bear, and I smacked her across the face with it. And for at least a month, she had the battery pack zipper indented into her forehead. That's the 80s right there.
Captain Power was the shit from the Bourbon Buddies. He-Man,
I don't know who Captain Power is.
and the Masters of the Universe. That's a good call for going back to the cartoons.
The Care Bears.
Care Bears. Those
Oh,
were
yeah.
the toys that...
Those furry little fuckers were awesome.
Oh, yeah.
My Bourbon Journey is here. Cheers. Thanks for joining us. We are talking about our favorite 80s pop culture memories and moments and toys. And specifically, we are talking right now about the toys of the 80s. And yes, Cabbage Patch Kids were the best, Jenny. I mean, I had two, ultimately, and they were so much fun. Who is Astro Boy? Do I know Astro Boy?
No, I don't think you do.
No, I mean, is it a cartoon? Is it a toy? Is it a doll?
I
Drone
don't
Kings,
know what
you have
it
to
is.
explain what that is to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what else came out in the 80s?
What's that?
Big Wheels.
Ugh, big wheels. I would ride mine to the park, and I almost got run over at least 4 times riding that thing across the street.
It was the best.
Bashful's calling out hacky sacks, but wasn't that a 90s thing, or am I out of my mind?
I think it was late 80s. I think she's right. Hacky sacks were out in the late 80s.
So the Psycho Ghost Trackers are here and calling out He-Man as a favorite.
He-Man. Yeah, both as a toy and a cartoon.
It was a great cartoon. It really was. Although,
He-Man.
Masters of the Universe. Drone Kings calls out Pound Puppies. Yes, how could I forget them? They came in their very own cage. I remember my sister had one, and she kept the little cage box thing. And I used to steal it and hide all of her toys in it and then, like, tape it shut. Because, again, I was an asshole.
You were a shitty sister.
I was a really shitty sister. I was.
You know a TV show that I just thought of that I didn't even... It just occurred to me.
What's that?
Magic School Bus.
Ooh. Absolutely, I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. And you could let it go now.
All right. All right. The Magic 8 Ball. Yes. Oh my God. Everybody had one of those. And you know what we also did too? All the girls would make those little origami fortune tellers. You know,
Oh,
you would
right.
fold your notebook paper over into it, and then you'd, lift up one side, and it would give you your fortune. That was a
Give
big
you a
thing.
number or
yeah,
a
yeah, and then
letter.
you'd shooka, and then
Shooka.
yes. Spirograph. Oh my gosh, the greatest art toy ever.
That was a very cool toy. Speak and Spell. Oh, yeah.
Speak and Spell. I forgot about that.
Right?
What was it? It was the Viewfinder, the Viewmaster. Is that what it was?
That didn't come out
Or
in...
was that a 70s toy?
Yeah, I think... Well, actually, the Viewfinders came out in, like 50s or 60s.
Did it really?
Yeah.
I
They've
just
been out
remember
that long.
having one in the 80s and having like different Disney movies on it and different cartoon characters. And that's what it was. The Viewmaster, yes.
Yeah, Viewmaster. Mr. Potato Head.
Exactly.
Those Speak and Spells. That was the precursor to an actual computer.
And once we did like elevate into a computer, one of my favorite things from the 80s was playing those adventure-based games from Sierra. I was a huge King's Quest player. I loved that game. King's Quest 1, 2, and 3, those were the best.
Did someone call out... Oh, God, what am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking of.
Transformers?
Oh, yes.
Someone did?
Transformers,
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
I can't believe those have morphed into something current.
Right. Well, then, if you're talking toys, then you have to talk about the gaming consoles that came out in the 80s.
Atari.
Atari was the biggest one.
And then what was it, Commodore?
Commodore was another, and then what was the other one that we had? Not called PlayStation. That's the newer stuff. Oh,
I don't know.
I'll have to think of it.
But yeah, I loved all those early computer games. My dad was big into computers, so he got us one of those Tandy TRS-80 computers, and we used to play those, tape games and everything. And I would go back. If we had one today, I would totally go back and play it.
Hey, wasn't there a glowworm?
I have no idea what a glowworm is.
Yeah, I think
It sounds
I got a
vaguely
picture
dirty.
of it right
That
here.
sounds like a
actually.
sex act. I'm going to give you a glowworm. ColecoVision, my bourbon journey. Oh my gosh, I forgot about ColecoVision. You look confused.
No, not at all.
Oh, okay. And you know what else I used to have was the and I wish to God I'd saved it. I had all the original Star Wars figures.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'd seen the original movies in the movie theater, and my parents bought me all the toys and everything. God, I wish I'd saved all that stuff.
And the other thing that came out in the 80s was the Game Boy.
That was late 80s.
It was
though.
late 80s.
That's like
Yeah.
89.
It was late 80s.
I don't really consider 89 the 80s. I realize there's...
There is that pesky 8 in the front of it.
I know, there's that 8 in it. But it really, I mean, I feel like the 80s sort of end at 1988.
Yep.
Because everything after that, it was just, morphing of what had already been done. And it was just overdone and gross. And then just
Jenny
waiting.
called out the Game Boy as well. So did Donna Cantor. And see, Drone Kings and Darwin, the Atari, the 2600, the C64, the Amiga, and I don't know what the Amstrad is.
I have no idea what that is. I also...
Those things were so useless.
What's a...
Pumpkin Patch Kids were... they came after the Cabbage Patch, and I think it was like their answer for like Mattel versus Tyco's version of the toy.
I may have been a little too old for them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Chernobyl. Wes.
Chernobyl.
That's always a good time.
That was the best toy. That was the best toy for the 80s, Chernobyl.
Yeah, that's a good time for everyone. Who doesn't love nuclear fallout?
Yeah.
Although I will say that the whole nuclear scare was a big part of the 80s. I remember in school we had all sorts of, like anti-nuclear campaigns, and we were all afraid of the bomb.
We were too busy saying no to drugs in our school to worry about Chernobyl.
Oh yeah, we had the Just Say No campaigns as well. And didn't DARE become a thing in the 80s as well?
Oh, hold on. We lost your audio.
Not again.
No, it's all right. I'm just going to put your batteries in. Don't worry. Hold, please, while I get Juliette new batteries here. Hold on. You just sit there and look pretty.
Thanks. Can they hear you on your mic or no?
Oh, they can hear me. Yep. Hold, please.
We know, Jenny.
Yeah, thank you for the heads up on that. These wireless mics take batteries and they eat them up. They suck them up like crazy. And hold on. You should be back right now. There you go.
And we're back.
You're back. Oh, did someone just call out Hungry Hippos?
Greatest game ever. Oh, the Hungry Hippos. I loved that game. There were so many great board games in the 80s. I loved playing Risk, Stratego.
Yep.
Sorry.
Connect 4.
Connect 4 was a great one, too. Operation and Mousetrap.
Mousetrap was cool. I only like setting it up. I didn't like playing the game. I just wanted to, to get the whole thing going.
Oh, yeah, so you could just make all the traps go?
Yeah, what's the name of that trap? There's a very specific name to it, like...
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Hamburger
yeah,
trap or something.
I don't
It's some
know.
German
Yes,
name, and
yeah.
it's the name of the
but
trap.
That's a great game.
Oh, yeah.
I would totally buy that to play it again.
Back.
It means we're back.
Well, you're back. I've always been here.
Yes.
Since I carry the show anyway.
Batteries die. It happens. What are you going to do? Shit happens. Monopoly came out in the 80s too, didn't it?
I don't think, no.
No? Is that a 70s game?
I think it's maybe, no, I think it's 70s. I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I
Okay.
had to look that one up, though. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it was the 70s.
That's like the never-ending game. You would start a game of that and would go on for hours and hours and hours, and you would hate yourself by the end of it.
I just like being a slumlord at the end where I was just getting everyone's money and, off the smaller properties.
Well, that game is set up so that really, there's no winning. If one person gets, the hotels or whatever, then they've won the game. I mean, there's no coming back from that game, which is why I think it's kind of obnoxious.
You want to pour me a little bit more?
Pouring you a little more.
Thank you. That's good.
There you go. Ms. Redneck says Monopoly has been around since the 50s.
Ooh.
I had
okay,
no
idea. I thought 70s, but wow.
So Stacey's saying he can't hear me.
Really? Go ahead and talk.
All right, so I'm talking. I see my audio bumping around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can you hear Juliette okay? Could someone in the chat let us know?
Someone give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down, something. I'm telling you, it's this fucking rain. It's ruining everything, including my hair. Okay, we got it. I can hear you. Okay, we're fine.
Awesome.
We're fine. On that note, however, I think it's probably time for us to maybe start to wind things down a little bit. I want to remind you all that I have a podcast and I have a new episode out right now. It's a great episode. I love this episode because it's about my dad being a hunter and some skills from hunting that I picked up. And it also has a moral to it, believe it or not. Apparently, I can tell a story that has a point every so often. So the Unwritable Rant podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
And you want to remind people about next Monday?
Yeah, I want to let y'all know that next Monday, we will not have an episode of Bourbon Soaked Live. I'm so sorry, y'all, but my guy and I are going to be in New Orleans signing the paper on our new home.
Yep.
That's right. We're going to New Orleans and we're getting a home. So it's going to be kind of crazy times here. So I apologize if, every so often we miss a Monday night. I promise you this show isn't going anywhere because I love doing this and I love hanging out with all you guys. You guys are the best. Bobby Blaze, I love you. Thank you for being here. Stacey Morgan, again, let me just call out what Stacey Morgan does. He has created this amazing YouTube button for me, and it actually is a part of a bigger thing. It's this entire sort of champion belt that he has made, and David, the producer, is going to run on camera right now and show y'all kind of what we've got.
Here.
I feel like Bobby, I feel like a wrestling superstar with this thing. I do.
Look at that.
Pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So he made that with his own two hands. It's amazing, Stacey. Thank you so much for that, and thank you for being here tonight. And oh my gosh, let's see if I can name everybody else who is here. We've got Jenny, Drone Kings, all of my whiskey buddies, my Whiskey Journey,
yeah.
Whiskey Crusaders. Thank you for being here.
Doris is here, Jimmy C's wife.
Jimmy C's wife, Doris, is here. Mad Kiwi, thank you for being here. I know Container Man was here earlier. Yeah. Donna Cantor.
Mad Kiwi, the whole lot of them.
All of you. Really, y'all, you're making my Monday nights the best. I'm so glad we're doing this. Remember, not next Monday, but every other Monday after that at 7 p.m. Central Time, we hang out here where we talk crap. And don't forget to post your photos to Twitter using the hashtag BourbonSoakedLive. So y'all, I'm going to finish off my bourbon. I hope y'all have a great night. I will chat with y'all again soon. Cheers. You're still here?